You fail to take responsibility for how we even got here.
But why? Read the room.
Why?
Read the room.
Why is she not here?
Read the room. Read the motherfucking
I'm reading the room.
Whoa.
I am reading the room. No, I'm not slow. You're slow because you like to throw rocks and hide your hand. You like to throw rocks and hide your hand.
My hands are right here. My hands are right here. You're on Kenya's side?
No, I am.
Can I get another one? Can you add more peace to it, please? Can I get a real drink? Can I get a strong one? Like tequila? Please put more peace in the day drinks.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are here with a double recap this week. We're gonna do the Real Housewives of Atlanta episodes 6 and 7. I was unable to review episode 6 last week, so we're gonna do a double recap, and I'm gonna try to get through this as quickly as possible. But guys, before we get into it, please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and let's get into it. So we're going to do episode 6 first. So this episode is the episode immediately following the whole Kenya Moore hair spa situation. So we get a recap, and they're showing the ladies with all of their reactions. You know, they show a recap, and all I can't get past is how Angela's face, she was gagging when Kenya was putting out the photo. She was looking like... So yeah, but basically the girls was all just giving their reactions on how they was pretty much gagging, and they were very disappointed and surprised with Kenya. So now we see it's 48 hours later, and we are at the Edie residence. This is Britt and her husband. She's sitting there, and she's on her phone. She's getting calls from clients. She's telling her husband. So basically, she's letting us know that she's been going through it for these past 48 hours, ever since the whole situation went off. People have been hitting her up, the blogs, all of this is just like a lot for her. So she's been kind of like hiding in the house, which I can understand. You know, when a scandal happens, you just want to run and hide and disappear until it all clears up. So yeah, but she lets us know that when she was younger, she made a mistake. She made a sex tape with her man. Well, so I think she said she was giving him oral sex, and she let him record it, and they got out there, which is a mistake many of us make. So I could never, you know, fault someone for that and judge somebody for that, because we all make mistakes. When you trust somebody, you thinking, she was doing it, I'm sure she didn't think it was gonna get out there. It was with her boyfriend. And, you know, at the time when you with somebody, you trust them. So at that time, you don't think this person could possibly do that to you until they do. But anyway, so her husband get to talking now. Mind you, one thing I'm going to say about Britt is, in this confessional where she has on like this denim top, is it just me, or do her titties look like they are breathing for air? Like her titties are trying to hop out. Like the top is too tight for her, and her titties look like they are in pain. They're just like, oh, girl, please get a bigger size. Like, for real. And then another thing is, I'm going to say about Britt is, I noticed this with her a lot. Girl, what is going on with your hair and your leave out? Her hair leave out be looking so obvious. Like, girl, get it together. You on TV. Anyway, so now she's talking to her husband, and she's, you know, they're discussing the situation, and he's giving his 2 cents. He's like, you know, she's supposed to be doing this for her daughter, and it's a salon for her. And this is what she does. So, you know, Kelly's crying, and he's, I guess, trying to console her. But basically, as they were talking, I'm not too crazy about this couple, but they were making some valid points. Kenya, you did make your event about her. That's crazy. You shouldn't have done that to her. Okay? But anyway, so as she's crying, I noticed her dog was even paying her dust. Her dog was sitting there like, this ain't nothing she ain't seen before. So now Miss Kelly arrives. And Kelly arrives. She brought them some food. Some, what was it? It was some tuna, some pasta salad and some Greek salad. I like both. So, yeah. So they get to popping some champagne. And Kelly has a surprise for Britt. She has an IV specialist coming to the house to get them some fluids and, you know, refresh them and regenerate them. So the IV fluid specialist come and she tells them whatever you feeling, I got something for that. So Britt is saying she's feeling tired, weak, and whatever. And then Kelly is like, we need something that to help make us allergic to bum bitches. And the IV specialist was like, I got something for that too. So now they get to talking and Kenya, Britt is just saying how that was crazy about last night and how she felt. And Kelly was telling her, like, the situation about with the car when she tried to take the flowers and she tried to take the car back. And Kenya told her, mind her business, stay out of it. She did. And basically, she said she let her know that by the time she pulled out the second poster, she was out because she wasn't going to sit there and, listen to that. So now she says that she didn't never see that side of Kenya. She didn't expect that because she thought Kenya was cool from what she saw of her. And here go Britt. She like, oh, fuck that bitch or whatever. So now, and then Kelly gonna say, how could you be so, she made up a word. She said distasteless. Isn't the word tasteless? She said distasteless. I was like, girl, what is going on? But anyway, they get into talking about Kenya, and not for nothing, as they was talking, I'm so glad the IV specialist interrupted and she was ready to start. Because I was tired of hearing Britt crying and playing the victim. Girl, are you the victim or are you the villain? We're going to get into that later. So now Kelly lets her know that she wants to plan something for the girls, to get them all together and, bring them all on one accord. So we then go over to Sterling Hall. And we have Shamia. She's with her personal chef and her mom is there. So she's preparing a little, get together for some of the girls to come over. So Miss Kelly arrives. And Shamia lets us know she basically just wants, after what happened with Kenya, she just wants to bring everybody together and, get everybody on one accord or whatever you want to say, however you want to put it. So now Miss Portia arrives. And then Angela arrives. She has a fan with her, a personal fan, and they make a joke about her going through menopause because she always has a fan and she's always hot. And Angela was like, no, it's not that I'm hot. It's just that I'm the hottest bitch in the room, and pulled out her fan. So now they start to discuss the situation from the event yesterday. And Kelly says how she was surprised at that. She didn't like that. And she doesn't think she can forgive Kenya. She likes Kenya. She wishes the best for her and her business, but she doesn't think she can forgive that. She thinks it was just too premeditated, and she wants to know how the other girls feel about it. She asks Portia, would you forgive her? And Portia is not saying nothing, but in her confessional, Portia was like, baby, if that was me, we're done. We're done. So now they get everybody's giving their 2 cents. So then Shamia mom pipes in and she gives her little words of wisdom. And Angela then asks Portia what she heard about Charles. Like, what did you mean when you said you heard something about Charles? Because I was offended by that. So what did you mean by that? So here go Portia. Now Portia all of a sudden is claiming it was a joke. She ain't mean nothing about it. I'm like, girl, whatever. Anyway, as this is happening, we see Jules pulling up in an Uber. She's on the phone. So she comes in. The chef gives her plate of food. She joins the lady. She's sorry I'm late. Hey, girl. So now she tells the girls, they ask her what's been going on. She tells the girls that she and Ralph, they're coexisting and whatever. She said being that they're all under one roof sometimes, it pretty much feels like they're still a family. So then Angela asks Portia, what about you? And with your divorce, do you feel like you have the support that you need? So Portia says, she doesn't really feel like that. And Angela asks her, she says, well, if he said, fuck that, let's forget all this and I want to get back together, what would you do? And Portia was like, nah, we're not doing that because once you put my mom name into it, that was it. So then we get into how when the situation, something happened with Simon when they was going through it, when the whole thing with the recording and he wasn't allowing her access to the house to record, something of that nature. And it was something where he had made an accusation that Portia, along with her mom and her mom's boyfriend, had broken into the apartment or something, gained entrance to the apartment. It was something to that effect where he was saying how Portia's mom and Portia's mom's boyfriend snuck into his house or came into the property, trespassing, something, some accusations he was making. This whole thing was just a mess. Why would you say her mother? What you think her mother is like? Her mother and the guy. What you think they came in there with hoodies and all that? Like, anyway, so she starts to tell them about how Pilar pretty much asked about him. One day she asked, like, where's Simon? And Portia was like, you know, he's gone. Whatever. She didn't really know how to answer it. You know, with a kid, you give him an optimistic answer. Like, you know, he's gone for a minute. He's taking care of something. He's working or whatever. So now she lets the ladies know how one day she went to reach out to Simon to let him know, like, you know, Pilar has asked about you. Basically, she said that he left the message on red. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, that is so shady. Like, this is the kid we talking about here. So all the girls is gagging, and Drew is on the side, and she's like, you know, I really want to be here for Portia right now, because I could really, out of everybody here, I could relate to what she's going through the most. But, you know, we are where we are, and it is what it is. So now, Kelly tells the ladies how she wants to do a lunch, you know, to get everybody together and find some peace or whatever. So she wants to know if Portia and Drew can, like, coexist. And Portia pretty much gives, you know, when me and Dennis is talking and chilling, Drew never comes up. Drew is not, you know, a topic. I'm past it, pretty much. They're going to do what they're going to do. So then she also says in her confession, sorry, this is later on. I'm sorry, I was about to talk about something that happened in a later scene. But now, I don't know what happened. They was talking, and Angela said something, brought up Michael Jordan. And Drew gonna come and say that Michael Jordan is her cousin, and that's her maiden name, Drew Jordan. Which comes to find out later is a lie, because I heard Angela, I guess, knew somebody that's part of the Jordan family or whatever, and asked, and it was like, we don't know that girl. So, Drew, like, why you lie so much? Like, what is going on with you, Drew? Like, this is too much, girl. All right? So now we go to the next scene where I believe this is Kelly's roof where she lives. I don't know if it was the roof to where she lives, but she was on a rooftop. And I'm assuming it was her building rooftop. And she was with her daughter, Chloe, and they were doing yoga. They're doing yoga now. So she says her and Chloe are close. Like, one day, Chloe had caught her crying in the bathroom. And Chloe kind of, like, got all the daughters together and was like, you know, got everything, you know, was basically keeping everything together for her. And, you know, that's her bestie or whatever. Chloe held it down for her when she was going through her moments or whatever. So they start to discuss an article that was released regarding the husband, the estranged husband. So they talking about it, and it's basically talking about his, you know, cheating and the whole money, basically all the drama they're going through. And Chloe is just like, oh, wow, you know, that she's talking, and matter of fact, sorry, Kelly said something to the effect that she doesn't like the fact that he had put out a statement saying all he cares about right now is this and the girls, like, basically, like, he cares about his girls or whatever. When she said that you was acting reckless in front of your girls or whatever. So, mind you, Chloe says how, well, maybe he could talk to the other girls because he don't talk to me. Like, basically, he don't really care about me. So, Chloe is not his daughter. So, she feels like he doesn't really care about her the way he does about his biological daughters. Because Kelly had Chloe about someone else before she met Mark. But anyway, so Chloe tells Kelly that she doesn't want to get married because she's scared that she's going to end up like her mom. And Kelly's like, oh my gosh, I don't want you to think that. I don't want you to feel like that. And, okay, I get that. You don't want your daughter to be traumatized by what you went through. You want her to find her own love and make her own decisions. But at the same time, someone else said this. I was listening to Bondi Blue. And she had said that, like, basically, Kelly seems like she was disappointed that her daughter don't want to be dumb and make dumb decisions like she did. Like, she, like, basically was saying Kelly seems like she didn't really learn from that. Like, she's going to probably find another type of man like that. And her daughter is looking at her, and her daughter is like, I don't want to be like my mother. So maybe you should, like, look into that, sis. Anyway, we're gonna go to the next scene. We're at Drew's house now. Now, this scene was kind of weird for me. So she's packing up to leave for the weekend because, as we found out, due to the custody arrangement that they have going on with the divorce thing right now, she has to leave the house every first, third, and fifth weekend to give Ralph a chance to have the house to himself and spend time with the kids, and he can go into their room and stuff. And pretty much, that's his time. And it also happens to be Father's Day weekend. So she's trying to do Anya's hair so she can have her hair looking cute before the father come. And Anya's like not trying to get her hair done. She's running from her. Mind you, she gives her the countdown. You know how you be like 5, 4. She's giving her the countdown. She counting mad slow, and Anya's still ignoring it. I'm like, girl, if you don't get over here so your mother can do your hair. Girl, 5 countdown. By the time you get to 2, they supposed to be like, all right. Honey, you could have got to -10. But she finally did it. She didn't really do much with it. She slicked it back and put it in a ponytail. It looked better than it started out, though. So we also see that Allison and the son Josiah are there as well. So now we see Drew. She's saying grace with the kids because they're about to have breakfast. I was trying to get into what was on their plate because it looked like a lot of food, especially for the kids, but I couldn't recognize what was on the plate. So they're saying grace, and as they're saying grace, Ralph comes walking in the kitchen. So Drew like, whoa. So he like, whoa. So she was like, I mean, I wasn't really expecting you this early or whatever. So he like, yeah, it's my weekend. And she's like, all right, well. So before she leaves, she wants to have a talk with him real quick about the exterminator bill. How I guess her lawyer told her that he was responsible for the exterminator bill. He says he's not. And she's like, well, I got a lot going on right now and I can't deal with that. And he's like, what you got going on? You don't pay no bills. So Drew shut it down. She was like, listen, bye. We're not going to do this. I'm leaving. Goodbye. Have a good weekend. And he like, what you got to do? You don't pay no bills. So he's mad. He like, this ain't right. It's an exterminator bill. He said, I pay all the bills. What is this, like $100? Girl, you could pay that. Like, so child, this whole situation is just awkward. So him walking in on them like that was awkward because she's supposed to be out of the house before he leaves, I guess. Before he arrives. But he came up from the basement early today. So now she leaves out and she's in the car and she's tight. So Allison comes to the car. Allison's asking her, is she all right? And they're about to leave. So she's telling Allison like, yeah, this is too much. He's doing too much. And she like, that was so awkward. And Allison like, yeah, that was awkward. Like, he ain't never come early like that and just pop up while I was still at the house. We ain't never bump heads like that. That was just weird. Like, basically, she felt like she was being rushed out her house. And it was really awkward because I'm not going from when he walked in, I was looking like, I felt awkward. So I can imagine, I know if Allison probably was about to come in the kitchen and she probably heard Ralph, and before she turned the corner, she probably was like, backed up like, yes, honey, awkward. So yeah, so she's like in the car. So she was like, you know what? Let's pull off right now because this is time. Let's go because he on some, bullshit. We don't want her making no calls saying, oh, she's still on the property. I'm like, this is a mess. So now we over at the studio. We go to the next scene with Shamia. She's at the studio with RL, the singer from Next that she's working with. He still looks the same. He still look good. I mean, mine's just painted on bed or spray painted on bed or whatever. He still look good. So yeah, so she thinks, so she's saying how she likes she's happy to be working with RL. And she makes a comment saying Drew needs to get her in RL. I'm like, last time I heard Drew music was more well-known than yours, honey. So maybe you need to get who she been working with. So now Angela arrives. And as RL and the producer go to edit the track, Angela and Shamia get to talking, and so Angela sympathizes with Shamia over the whole situation when she's playing a song, and she says, I'm sorry, I was sitting next to Portia when you played your song, like, that was weird, like, and I could tell that you felt a way about it. So, Shamia was like, yeah, I put in a lot for this song, and it was just weird that she was doing that. And Shamia was like, she felt kind of like hurt by that. So now in the confessional, while she's in the confessional, they ask, can they hear the song? So she starts to sing the song. So we're realizing she's pretty much getting through the whole song. So the producer's like, all right, we just heard a little bit. And she's getting through it. She's like, y'all gonna hear this song today. Y'all gonna hear me today. This ain't Drew. It's me. Shamia is funny. She's a funny girl. So then she threw a little shade at Drew. And she was like, no shade. You know, Drew ain't hitting these notes. Okay. So now Drew arrives. And as Drew arrives, she's like, my Chi-Town girl. Because you know her and Angela, Chi-Town girls. And they greet her. And basically, she's saying, she greets RL. And she's like, and he's talking about the magic they're working on. She was like, yeah, I think I heard some of this magic, a little bit over on the phone. And Shamia was like, did you really hear it? And Drew like, no, or whatever. So Drew basically, she doesn't understand how Portia is moving as well. Because she like, how could you think that's me singing, girl? Like, you know, like, she said at this point, she don't know what type of time Portia on. So now they get to talking, and Shamia's telling them how they let her hear that she's telling them how she's so happy about this, and she feels like since she started working with RL and that, you know, she feels like it brings her confidence back, and she likes where she is now. And Drew says same thing here, like, you never know who the vehicle could be, because, you know, basically working with Dennis, that's how I feel. And she was like, and the way these royalties and all that is set up, honey, Pilar about to have her college paid for. And here goes Shamia coming to Portia's defense. I'm sure, I already know Pilar's college is already paid for. Do you? Do you, hon? Do you? Okay. Next up, we back at the Edie residence. And Britt's mom, Angela, arrives. So they get to talking about the situation. Her mom pretty much came, I guess, to like give her some support for what she's going through. Because she said her mom has been very supportive. And as she's telling her mom and venting to her mom, no shade, but the mom was looking like she was falling asleep. She was sitting there like, no shade, the mom was giving, girl, this is nothing new. Like, Britt always got caught up in some shit like this. That's what it was giving, because the mom was sitting there like, she gave her little 2 cents or whatever, but she definitely seemed checked out. So, yeah, pretty much. Another thing, Britt, again, with the leave out. Every scene, I'm looking at your leave out and like, girl, did you forget to leave it out of the style? So, yeah, pretty much the mom is telling her, like, you know, don't worry about that. Don't stress it. Because, you know, you classy. We going to keep it classy. I'm like, now you're classy? Is that the same bitch that was talking about whips and pistols? You're classy? Ha! So next we go over to part 4 where Portia is meeting Shamia and they're about to play some type of golf or whatever they're going to play. Some type of indoor golf. Whatever they playing. I ain't paying. But anyway, they had on these shirts that was like, girl, you sure you came to play sports with that on? Because I was like, what is going on? Like, Portia had on, like, this top, right? The top pretty much connected right here, pretty much. Everything else was just open and out. And Shamia had on, like, a low cut, showing, like, low... It was just too much cleavage for them to be going to play something that was so active and they jumping around and like, woo, and all that. I thought our titty was going to pop out any minute now. I'm like, girl, and this looked like the type of place where kids would be at. Like, They looked trashy to be where they were at. The shirts that they had on did not fit the venue, okay? So now they get to talking and Shamia asks her what's up with the whole how Dennis and Drew situation. Did she straighten that out? And she pretty much says that Drew had said something to the effect of he doesn't see what's wrong with shooting with Drew if it's going to be promotion for the product, for the brand. And also, he supposedly told her that he wasn't going to film with her and he didn't film with her. But we see he did film with her. So I guess when she see this, that's going to be another problem. Hopefully she don't try to fight him and his mom again. Anyway. So now they start so Portia asked Shamia about her IVF journey. And Shamia lets her know that she has a 30% chance for her embryos. And she, and then we find out that Portia and Simon actually have some embryos put up because they plan on extending their family. And Shamia like, you sure he ain't put a what's the word, a order of protection or whatever, or that, like an NDA, like do not touch, because with the way he been acting, with like she can't film in the house, she can't use the car, like he been basically, like we said, we surprised he ain't put a restraining order against her using them embryos. Like, bitch, don't use them embryos, not with my sperm. So now, they talk about Simon's behavior online and how he's so catty and, all the things he's doing. And Portia is basically saying how she really wish they could have a conversation and get this together. But he doesn't, but right now, he just want to be famous. So she's like, I'm at war with my influencer husband. And, yeah, she's kind of right about that. When you're right, posh. Okay, now we're finally ready for Kelly's peace brunch at the Whitlock Inn. Okay, so she meets up with her stylist, Paris, who's helping her get the event together. It looks real cute. Paris looks like a key. So now, Portia calls her as she's sitting there with Paris, and Portia's sounding sick. I don't know if it was fake or not, but Portia lets her know she's sick and she's not going to be able to make it. So Kelly's like, girl, take care of yourself, girl. Take everything you need. Just don't take nobody else, man. Portia, like, you throwing shade. Portia, like, I'm just playing funny and whatever. So now we see Shamia and Angela arrive. So Kelly, when they talk, Kelly tells the girls how her lawyer sent her something about her husband, the situation I guess she was talking about with Chloe earlier, about the story, the article with her husband. So she's basically letting them know how he was locked up for contempt, I guess, for not paying child support or whatever he's supposed to be paying. And she lets us know he only made one payment so far, and he owes her like $10K. Sir, you are a deadbeat, okay? You stole money out of her account and all that, and close the business. Pay your child support, loser, for you end up back in jail. So now, Drew arrives, followed by Britt. So they ask about Portia, and Kelly lets them know she's not feeling well, she's not coming. So now they ask Britt how she's doing. Kelly's the lady of the hour, the lady of the day. I'm sorry, not Kelly, Britt. They asking Britt, like, how's everything? So basically, she's saying how I want us to be here for you, because I'm sure, I know some of the other ladies, they already spoke with Kenya. So Britt is surprised. She's like, really? Y'all all spoke with Kenya? And they're like, yeah. So she doesn't like that. She got upset. Okay, she was like, why do they care what Kenya think? Look what she did to me. Everybody keeps bringing this up, and I noticed it too. Britt has a very nasally voice. She talks like she's talking out of her nose, like that surgery or whatever. Like, why does everyone care about Kenya? What about me? Like, oh my God. Like, so now, she's really upset. She's mad that they spoke with Kenya. She's saying she don't feel comfortable being in the same room as her. She wants Kenya erased. All right? She got what she wanted. She's off the show. You got her off the show. It's all about you now. You're still here. It's very clear she wanted Kenya gone. Mission accomplished. She came and got what she wanted, and Kenya actually fell for it and got outsmarted. So now, Shamia mentions how she's going through a lot with her man, her business and all that, her clients. So Shamia mentions how Britt had told them yesterday how she lost her license, her insurance license. So Angela's like, based off what? Like, on what grounds? So here's King. Britt is like, what? You don't understand? What is it that you don't understand? Angela's like, I'm asking you on what grounds? You saying you lost your license. You don't just lose your license like that. So on what grounds? Britt is like, oh, what part don't you get? Blah. So Angela's like, first of all, Britt, where's this energy coming from? Because it's supposed to be a peace brunch, and you're not coming with peace. Like, this energy, what is going on? So Britt is all like, are you slow or something? And Angela's like, no, I'm not slow. And first of all, like, she said, you throw your hands and hide throw rocks and hide your hands or something. And here's Britt. My hands are right here, honey. My hands are right here. Girl, put your hands down, girl. Put your hands down. So yeah, they're going back and forth, and she's like, that's why Kenya not here. Angela's like, yeah, why she not here? Because you not talking about your part in this. Like, you played a part in this too. So they're basically going back and forth, and for some reason, Britt is on 10. Like, I guess she's looking to see who her next target is going to be. So now Kelly wants them to calm down, so she decides to switch seats with Angela. So now, Shamia says, now that everything is calm, Britt, I want to ask you, how did you lose your license? How did that happen? So she's explaining how she's under investigation. She lets us know that you don't just lose your license. There has to be an investigation. And as she's saying that, you see Angela like I said. So Britt, like, what was that, Angela? Angela was like, I said, like I said. And Britt was like, I'm still talking. I ain't finished talking. And Angela was like, oh, I thought you were. So basically, they start going back and forth again. And Britt tells her, you can swirl on out. So Drew like, swirl on out. Oh my gosh, you is funny. Kinga is here, girl. And yeah, Angela was like, yes, you using her tagline still, like, pretty much. Yeah, you is obsessed with sis. That's why you still using her. You want to be the new Kinga? Now you want to take swirl from her? So now she's like, Drew was laughing like, you funny. Britt is like, well, I'm glad I'm funny. I'm glad I can make you laugh or whatever. And Drew was like, I just want to say, and she was like, I don't think it's cool that nobody's like holding her accountable for what she did and everybody's laughing and think it's a joke. So Drew was like, I don't agree with what she did. I do think it's wrong, but I hope you can come to a point where you realize what part you played in this and y'all can have a conversation. And that's when she was like, I don't feel comfortable talking to her. I don't want to talk to her. I don't feel comfortable being in the family room with her. Girl, we get it. All right. You wanted to get rid of Kenya and you did. So as they're going back and forth, the church bells start ringing, and Shamia takes that as a cue, like, the church bells is ringing, girl, it's peace up in here. So she ends up getting them all to do the electric slide, and that's how we close out the episode, with the girls doing the electric slide. And Angela has on her, as she said, she announced earlier, she came with 2 +1s, Polly and Esther, honey. I can't do the Polly and Esther, honey, okay? She feels funny, and she doesn't last, okay? But anyway, Britt was on Watch What Happens Live, still playing victim. I'm just so over her and her nasally voice. I'm mad King is gone, and she's still here. But hey, it is what it is. Let's see how the rest of the season goes and what she gives. Tell me what you guys think about this episode. How are you feeling about Britt? I don't know if she's playing. She's like the victim and the villain. Make up your mind, sis. You can't be the victim and the villain. But yeah, I think that this episode was a decent episode. It was okay. I mean, following last episode, it was like a cute little refresher and a reset. But we're going to see where the season go. The next episode looked like it might be good. They're supposed to go on a little trip to Nashville. And I guess Portia and Angela are going to get into it. I'm actually about to watch that episode now because it came on Sunday night. And I ain't watched it yet. And I'm just doing this review from last Sunday. So right following this will be my review for next episode after I watch it. Be right back.
What I won't do is allow a group of women to just talk about one woman who's not even
They asked, where was she?
because they've known us to be cool. Okay.
Wait, what? I have no idea what's going on. What happened?
So the problem with Drew, she was doing some things that were undercover. We were working together. That's ended. Whatever she's got going on with whomever, it's also her personal business.
Is talking to Dennis more than making music. So that's allegedly.
She sucks some dick.
Oh, wow. That's a bit.
Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you are ready for episode 7 because I'm about to jump right back in and waste no time, honey. So we start off at Atlanta Autos and we see Britt is there with her husband Mike and they're doing some car shopping. She says that he promised her that she would be able to get a new car every 2 years. And he like, I did. And she like, yeah, remember you said happy wife, happy life. So she's getting in the car. She's getting in the car, whatever. And she's asking him about it and if it's in the price range. So then she throws her leg up. And Mike is like, girl, put your legs down. So she was like, if you can't fucking a car, why are you even buying it? Like, so now we jump over to Oakley Residence. So I like actually how to proceed. The way this episode started, it was like maybe 3 scenes rolled into one. So I like the way they merged the scenes and they did the editing. Because we started off at Atlanta Autos. Now we jump over to the Oakley Residence where Angela is preparing some stuff because she's having Drew over. So Drew arrives, and right away, she's pouring some, I think she was, what was it, tequila? And Drew like, oh, you pouring my cousin tequila? Because last episode, they were drinking the Jordan tequila, and Drew claimed that Michael Jordan was her cousin because her maiden name was Jordan. And Shamia asked her, like, are you serious? And she was like, yeah. And I said this last week, it comes out she was a lie, because Angela was like, yeah. Well, I asked Marcus, because Angela knows Marcus, who is Michael's son, and she like, and he said, no, we ain't related to her. We don't know her child. So Drew now talk about some, oh, I was just playing, I was joking. But girl, Shamia asked you, was you serious? And you said, yeah. And you even came in saying my cousin Tequila. So Angela was like, girl, who still lies about people being cousins? Like, we did that in grade school, girl. Like, girl, he's not your cousin. Bye. Drew's like, oh, maybe I was manifesting it. Girl, bye. Drew, like, this is the problem with you. You so delusional and you just lie for no reason. I want to like you, Drew, but my God, it's a headache with you. So they start to talk about the peach brunch, and Angela's saying she was over it. It was no peach. It was more like sour lemonade, and the food was half cooked, half good. So Drew was like, the food was half good. So Angela said them grits needed to be cooked some more. And I was like, oh, what? Not no undercooked grits, girl. Not with the not undercooked grits. You still see like the what you call those little grit things? I forgot what you call them. But when you can still see like the little pieces, like the little sand bits. Like, girl, bye. What is going on? I need my grits nice and creamy, honey. Okay? So now we jump over to Kelly's house. And she's having some of the girls over. She's with her dog, Cha-Cha, who, for some reason that we find out soon, is colored, painted multiple colors. And she's with her sister, what's her sister's name? Kamaya. So she's preparing stuff for the girls and saying, like, you know, the girls better be on their best behavior. She's going to sick Cha-Cha on them. So Cynthia arrives with her wig. You know, Cynthia and her wigs, honey. And they get to talking, and she says how, you know, older men like younger women, but now that she's an older woman, she get the young guys that be hollering at her or whatever. So now, as they're talking, she starts talking to, she's talking to the production behind the camera in her confessional, and she's listing what her requirements are for a man, and the list goes on and on, honey. I was like, oh, Cynthia, that's probably why you know what I mean, can't say nothing. Okay? Anyway, Portia decides to let herself in while this is going all in, and Kelly like, wait a minute. And that is weird, because, girl, you never even been in her house before. You just letting yourself in? We ain't that cool, sis. So now, Shamia arrives, and she's turned up. She's at the door like, so Kelly gets automatically like, yes, sis. Shamia looked real cute, too. So now, Shamia sees Cha-Cha, and she's like, what is this? Like, what is this? So, Kelly explains to us how Cha-Cha was once stolen. And she happened to actually come across her on Craigslist, and that's how she got her back. So since she got her back, she decided to paint her so she can look original. So basically, she can't ever worry about her getting stolen again. She said, we did what we had to do. And her colors are dye-free and cruelty-free and vegan. And as she's saying that, the person behind the camera, like, as you see here in your fur coat. So now, Portia asks them about the peace brunch. So, you know, they're letting her know that basically how Angela, well, I think, Kelly said that when they got there, she felt like Angela and Drew was Team Kenya and it threw Britt off or whatever. So now we jump back to the dealership. So this is where now we see all three scenes are going on. So now we start jumping back and forth because all the girls are talking about the same thing. So at the same time, we're back at the dealership and Britt is telling her husband how she feels. She's telling her husband about the little tip she had with Angela over her license shenanigan thing when Angela questioned her losing her license, and she basically felt like Angela was coming for her and she wasn't feeling that, and her husband was saying basically how when you have a license doing that, you have to have like a squeaky clean image and people care about stuff like that. So we get it. So now she also thinks that, she says that she thinks that Angela lacks empathy. That's what she said. She felt like Angela lacks empathy. And she says that Angela shouldn't be worried about her business because she heard some stuff about Angela. And basically how she heard Charles then had a kid on Angela. Now this is what the streets is saying. This is what the internet is saying. Based on Wendy Williams saying this some time ago. That Angela, when her husband Calvin had a baby on her, she ran into, I guess, Angela somewhere at an event, and Angela told her, Wendy, it's just a baby. It's just a baby. Like, don't sweat it. And Wendy was like, what, this happened to you? And she was like, yeah. So pretty much Britt brought that up and was like, the streets is talking. Now we flip back to Angela's. Back at Angela's house, she's saying how she just didn't like Britt's approach, and she feel like Britt needed to humble herself. She wanted to see some growth from Britt. So Drew says, while we talking about Britt, she actually texts me. So she picks up her phone and starts reading Britt's text message, but she's doing it in Britt's voice. Like she's impersonating Britt's voice. So she's like, I think we got off to the wrong spot. I would like to know if you would like to meet up for dinner or something. I can't do the voice the way she was doing it, but she did it good. She made it. So she was like, the jury's still out. We're going to leave that right here. So now Angela asked her if Ralph got the house. And Drew like, yeah, this is my weekend out the house or whatever. And she basically said, this is not working out. I'm over this. Her second court date hearing is coming up. And basically, she says that she wants to keep the case sealed to quote unquote protect the kids. We're going to get back to that in a minute. Okay? So now, Angela asks her if she thinks that Ralph may be jealous of Dennis, the fact that she working with him. Is he jealous of that? And she said, well, she knows that Ralph and Dennis had a conversation. And Portia had a conversation. And it seems like after that now, Portia and Dennis is a problem. It's a whatever. So she don't know what's going on over there. Meanwhile, back at Kelly's, Cynthia is asking Portia if she's moved on from, the little animosity with Drew, and Portia is saying basically she moved on. She's not really stressing that she's gonna be the bigger person. So Portia's like, oh, so y'all cool now, y'all good, I think she said, and Portia was like, I didn't say that now. You're using really very beautiful adjectives. You're not gonna say all that now. So basically Portia is giving like, she don't care. But Portia in her confessional feels like Portia's putting on. She feel like Portia says she doesn't care, but I think she cares a lot. A big deal, pretty much. So now Portia's letting the girls know that she's planning like a Cowboy Carter type theme. That's gonna be like the theme, and she wants to take a trip to Nashville and have fun for her birthday, which is coming up. So as she's saying it, Cynthia's asking her who's all invited, and she says she invited everybody. So Cynthia asked her, was Drew invited? And she was like, no, Drew is not invited. Back at Angela's, and actually before we get to Angela's, as she's saying Drew's not invited, they show a flashback of her having a group call. She had a group call when she did it. I think it was her, Angela, Britt, and Kelly on the line, and maybe Shamia was there too. But they was having a group chat, and Angela was saying, oh, I want my Chi-Town sister girl to be there. My sister need to be there, whatever. Can I bring a +1? So Portia was like, oh, Angela, for some reason, your thing is the only one that has no volume, no sound. Like paid it does. So now we go over to Angela, and Angela's actually telling Drew about the trip and inviting her along as her +1. So Angela says how Portia didn't actually say no. She said she couldn't hear her. So she said if she ain't say no to her, that means hell yeah. I don't know how you came up to that conclusion, Angela. But okay, girl. So now Drew feels like she wants it to come from Portia. She would rather it come from Portia. Now we jump back to Portia at Kelly's house, and Portia saying she thinks Drew's a pathological liar. And she good on her, like, she don't got time for that. She want to have fun with people. She handpicked the people that's coming. And she want people that she love with a good vibe. And she got a good vibe with her. And Drew is not vibing right now. Back at the dealership, Britt is saying, and I like, was at this point now, they have all 3 scenes up on. You see Portia right here. It's like a split screen with 3 people. You see Portia. You see Drew here. You see Portia in the middle. And then you see Britt. And you see Portia saying, like, as they're showing one person talking, that person is in color and the other people turn into black and white and they freeze. So as basically it was real cute. Just imagine, it's a split screen. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. And basically they had all 3 girls on the screen. So as one girl was talking, the other 2 girls was like frozen in black and white, and they focused on the person who was talking. They was in motion. So now we see Portia. So we see Britt saying, after Portia said that Drew's a pathological liar, we see Britt saying, like, she think this girl's trip is going to be a good time, you know, and she's looking for a good time, and she's looking for peace. She's ready for peace. We clip to Angela. Now, Angela is moving. Angela is saying, Drew is saying how she'll come if Portia is okay with it. Freeze Drew. Action Portia. Portia is saying she's done with Drew. Out of sight, out of mind. Freeze Portia. We have Angela saying she'll be alright. So this is about to be a mess, child. So now the next scene after the commercial break comes back, and we have a split, like another multiple scene kind of collage, but this is the normal one where we see Kelly. She's teaching her daughter Chloe how to parallel park in between 2 cones, and Chloe is failing miserably. Then we see Shamia. She's in the studio putting down a song with B-Flat, the guy who's the producer or engineer, whatever he is. Then we see Angela. She's home with her daughter and son, Avon. Her son and daughter, Avon and Arlie. She's making some homemade fries. I love homemade fries that you cut the potatoes yourself. Actually, honestly, those are my favorite kind of french fries. I don't do that freezer bag french fries because I feel like I could want french fries at any time. When I want french fries to me is like a snack. That's like eating potato chips to me. So when I want french fries, I ain't got time to defrost the freezer because you got to know you want french fries. The ones that come in the freezer, I've tried it before. If you just throw them in the freezer frozen, when you cook them, they're going to taste like freezer. So you have to actually plan it out and defrost them in time and all that. Listen, when I want some french fries, I would just go in there and peel 2 big potatoes and cut them up and fry those bitches up real quick. And when I cut them, I cut off the ends too, so that it's a square potato, so that each fry is the same exact size and length. I'm very, very strategic when I make my french fries. I love me a good french fry, honey, okay? Yes, but anyway, she was making them some homemade french fries, so she asked her son what he thought about her face, because she lets us know that when she first got her nose job, it was a little too pinched for her, so they told her, the doctor told her to get Botox and it'll blow up her nose, and it ended up going downhill. It was a mess. It didn't work out. So she had to heal from that. So now we jump to Portia. She's with Cynthia, and they're talking about, I guess they're at Portia house, yeah, and they're talking about the Nashville trip. And then they start talking about her divorce, and Portia saying how she never would have saw that coming. And she's like, it's crazy how it's like, I remember my favorite quote used to be, you should be his peace. And now it's like, I went from being his peace to, I want some peace. Can I have some peace or whatever? So that was a cute little thing. So now we jump to Cafe Belly, Belli. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, Belli, whatever. And Drew was meeting with Britt, because remember, Britt sent her the text saying that she wanted to, meet up for dinner or lunch or something. So they get there and they both order lemon drops. Drew gets hers with tequila and Britt does hers with vodka. Britt feels how at the peace brunch, Drew was Team Kenya, and she feels like nobody was trying to hear where she was coming from. So Drew was letting her know, I understand where you coming from, but it's just like when you were saying, well, Kenya not going to be here no more. Kenya's gone. It just seemed celebratory, and I wasn't feeling that. So Britt, they talking, and Britt tells her, whatever you want to ask me, you can ask me anything. And Drew took her up on her offer, honey, because she asked her straight up and down, have you ever sold it? So Drew's like, Britt, like what? She's like, the cat. Have you ever sold the cat? So Britt claims she didn't. So now Drew asks her, have you done porn? And Britt says no. And as she's trying to explain it, she's choking up, something's getting stuck in her throat or whatever. Basically, it was giving you lying, girl. The same thing happened when she was walking in the park with Angela, and Angela asked her something about her husband, and she started to talk, and a fly went in her mouth. Yeah, girl, you was about to lie. But yeah, so now Britt says how she did webcam before for a week when she was in her 20s. Her best friend did it or whatever. And she then asked Drew what she meant, because Drew had made a comment, I guess, saying how she knew the guy who was in one of the posters that she was with that Kenya put up. I guess the guy she was supposed to be giving head to. So she asking her, like, what you mean? Like, you knew him? And Drew was like, when she put the poster up and there was different people up there, I thought I recognized one of them. And she was like, what, you recognize his dick? Like, how? Did you recognize it because you sucked it before? That made me laugh. I'm not gonna lie. That was the funniest. Did you recognize it because you sucked it before? Like, true, right? Like, if you saw just a dick, it didn't show the way face. So if you just saw a dick, how did you recognize that dick? I'm only gonna recognize it if it's a dick I recognize because I had it. So now Drew claims she was just playing. She likes to joke or whatever. So Drew apologizes to her, and she says she knows how it feels to have your reputation put out there. She has a lot of people stuff blogs about her going through her divorce. So she knows how it is, and she can sympathize for her. And she wants to move forward. So then Britt asks her, can she move forward with Portia? And Drew's like, So Britt like, well, just drink to that, okay? So now we get to, it's the day of Drew and Ralph's court date. I guess it's Friday, because she told Angela that the court date was coming up Friday. I don't know what date that was, but today is Friday. So we see Ralph is going to court. He dressed up. He got his glasses on, looking educated, looking real professional. And she's going to court. She's with her lawyer and looking not so professional. So basically, they're both on their way to court. So while they're on their way to court, she's saying how she wants to just get this over with. She want to keep the case sealed or whatever, but she feels Ralph wants to. She said that mediation is always an option, but she feels Ralph wants to fight. So now her hopes for the day is that she wants for him to have to move out the house and to pay child support. And you see Ralph in his car on the way to court with his cousin, and he's basically like, yeah, they still want more, trying to get me to move. And the cousin like, out of the house you pay for? And he like, yeah, ain't that crazy? No, not really. That's how divorce is right, boo. So now he not trying to leave. He don't want to leave. That's pretty much what it is. He don't want to do that. But basically, she definitely wants to she wants to block the documents in the file from being made public, from being unsealed. For some reason, she seems more fearful of it than him. So the producer asked her what's in the documents that's, makes you so fearful for them to be made public. And she was like, it's just some things, like, I'm not worried about me. I'm more worried about Drew. It's things that he did, So pretty much, she's more fearful for him. Now, we see that they both reached to the courthouse now, and they're both sitting in their different mediation rooms with their lawyers separately. And basically, Ralph's lawyer is they're strategizing, and Ralph's saying, you know, this is just a money grab. This is a money grab. Ralph is like, see, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So now they go to after the hearing. We see them go in the courtroom, but as you know, they can't show the court proceedings on TV. They can't film those. So after the court date, they come out. Honey, Ralph is like, he happy. He look like he's satisfied. Drew is mad. Like, are you serious? So basically, we found out that he still gets to stay in the house. Nothing basically has changed. He still didn't bring his documents. Whatever, his financial documents. So basically, they made no progress. But basically, Ralph wanted to avoid it having to leave the house, and he got what he wanted. So we see him, he walking, the lawyer is all excited. They is really feeling it. So, he's walking, and he like, I ain't gotta leave the house. He's doing his little dance like, I get to stay. And I'm like, he is such, not for nothing. I thought Ralph was so attractive, but I can't stand him now. I was like looking, and that's crazy. Why am I mad? Because it seemed like he won the court case. Based on when they came out, he was happy. He was like, yes. And she was walking mad fast, like, she was tight. So, baby, when she got her car, it just seemed to me like she is more concerned about the documents being unsealed than he is. He's saying how it's things in there about her, too. He's saying how he thinks that it's a lot of misconceptions about their relationship, and he feels one of the biggest misconceptions is that he didn't care about his wife. He said, yes, he did some things, but Drew did too. So he feels by unsealing the documents, it's an even playing field. So obviously, he's alluding to the fact that Drew did some things too. Remember, she was messing around with a whole nother female, I believe. So basically, he's saying how he want that sealed so everybody can know the truth. So like I said, based on how she was acting and how he was acting, it seems like she's more worried about this than he is. So we see her pulling off, and she opens up the window to call him an asshole from out the window. I'm like, girl, just go home, Drew. You making yourself look even more of a witch. All right? Now, what's in them documents, girl? Because you seem very nervous, and Ralph seemed like he is without a care. What's really going on? So now it's the day of Portia's Nashville trip. We see all the girls getting ready. Portia's feeling good. She don't want no drama. Like she said, she handpicked all these girls that's coming. And she don't want nobody who she not vibing with up under her. And if anybody try to mess this up or bring drama, she will curse them out and take all her divorce frustrations on them. Okay? So now they all get to the airport and they fly out. They touch down. It looked like they flew commercial, honey. They looked packed like sardines. But anyway, I fly commercial, so I can't. So, well, I mean, not saying they fly commercial, but it seemed like they was not in first class. I'm not saying I'm a first class queen, but that was giving coach. Anyway, so now they touch down and they turned up. They hype. Ooh, we in Nashville. I was about to say Texas. Nashville, Tennessee, honey. Yes. Okay, the home of country music. So, yeah, they all dressed a little country. Well, most of them are dressed a little country anyway. So, we found out Angela done missed the flight, honey. I don't know what she was doing, but she missed the flight. She said she left a little late and traffic was bad. So, she missed the flight. And basically, Portia didn't even notice the girl missed the flight. Portia was like, I didn't even notice the girl missed the flight. Shade, okay? So, now they're in the car and they're on their way to their location where they're going to be staying. So they're like, damn, Portia, we've been traveling for like 3 hours. And I'm like, damn, where's y'all staying? In the outskirts? On a motherfucking reservation? And something? So yeah, so they begin to talk about cosmetics. I don't know how to conversate. Britt said something. I guess Portia said something about her voice. And Britt said it was her nose cert job. And then I think Shamia said she wanted to get something done. And Portia was like, she was thinking about getting her girls done, her titties done again. But then she said, these men ain't worth these don't deserve me getting my girls done again. And she was like, they used to be called Coco and Chanel, honey, but now they Bob and Ben. That was funny. So now they finally arrive at their lodgings and they're greeted to some shots, some drinks. That's called the Howdy Henny, because you know Henny is Portia thing. So, Howdy Henny, can I have one? So now they also have a chef, a personal chef, and he has a barbecue spread set up for them, a Nashville barbecue spread. I'm like, this trip is starting off awesome for me. Drink, food, my kind of trip, okay? So now they get to check out the rooms and put. Some of the rooms are nice, some not so much. Just one that looked like it's a bunk bed situation that maybe only Kelly can fit in. And then it's another one with 4 bedrooms that's given like Big Brother, like they're in the Big Brother house. It's just 4 rooms in a room. Like, is this a vacation, baby, or are we in like a dormitory? Like, is this jail? Like, what the hell's going on? So now it's chow time. So a matter of fact, as they walk in, Drew gonna say, "Oh, look down." She's like, "Is that the basement, Drew?" Cynthia was like, That was so that. So now it's chow time. They getting down on that Nashville spread, honey. So Kelly asks Portia if it's different celebrating her birthday now that she's going through a divorce or whatever. And, you know, Portia says, you know, she not going to lie. It is kind of weird because her birthday and Simon's birthday is in the same month. So, but right now, she's focusing on her girls. She don't usually let people in like that. So she about to enjoy this birthday with her girls despite the fact she's going through a divorce. Angela finally arrives. And when she comes in, she said, you know that feeling when you walk in and you feel like people was talking about me? Like, yeah, these bitches was talking about me. And they actually were talking about her right before she came in. So, because I think Britt was saying something about how she don't like how she came at her at the peace brunch and don't be switching up on me, be the same person every time and this and that. So now, she comes in and they sit down and have a seat. And she decides to announce that she told Drew about the trip and basically invited Drew. That's what she said. I want Drew here. And Kelly was like, how do you want Drew on my trip? So, yeah, she basically invited Drew and the girls are gagging like, girl, how do you invite somebody else on somebody else's trip? And Portia is like, oh my gosh, I'm getting bullied on my own trip. Like, so now we find out that Angela actually ran into Kelly and Britt the other day at Neiman's, and Britt says she was giving like old lady glasses, hair looked at a mess, and when she saw them, she was hiding in the clothes and stuff, like pretty much giving, I'm low-key, I'm undercover, I'm doing something, and I don't want y'all in my business. And Angela claims that she the one that went up to them and spoke to them. And Britt was like, you know, I gave you a hug and everything. And Angela was like, the hug was well received. It was well received. So Britt was like, but was it real? And Angela was like, I'm not fake. If I'm showing you love, then it's real. And Britt was like, fair enough. So now, Portia is showing Angela her room, and she lets the girls know that they have time to call their families and get a little 1-2 in their glam before they head back out. Okay, to go to the rodeo. And the rodeo, okay? So now, we see Angela is, so she shows Angela her room. Angela sees an affirmation pillow with an affirmation on it, and it says, all are welcome here. So she grabs the pillow and she wants the pillow, and Portia's like, nah, because basically it fits. So Portia's like, nah, I don't like this affirmation. So now, Angela, we see Britt and Kelly in their room as Britt is saying how she bought locks in case bitches want to, you know, try some funny shit. And I'm like, child, what? What would they try? To steal your ill-fitting clothes? Like, girl, bye. Anyway, or what, steal your, get 10 carat band? So now Kelly says she bought Sage and security. So now we see Angela, she FaceTiming Charles, and he's acting like he can't stand here. Nothing she's saying, child. Charles, could you please be sweet to your wife one time? Can we at least know that you actually care about her? Because I like you. You seem like you have a cool personality, but It seems like you don't like your wife, child. What is really going on in that household? What's going on at the Oakley residence? Okay, let me see. So now Shamia is on a FaceTime with her husband Gerald, and he's telling her he ain't been in Target in a long time, and it looks real nice. And she like, look at you excited in Target. And he like, yeah, I know, right? So now Britt is on a FaceTime with her husband Mike, telling him how Angela invited Drew, and it's gonna be some drama. To be honest with you, out of all of these girls who was FaceTiming their husband, Shamia's husband was the only one who seemed like he was interested in talking to her. Mike was giving, oh, girl, all right. And Charles was giving, huh? What? He did what? What? So now we see Angela FaceTiming Drew and letting her know it's a go. She told Portia she was coming, and basically, Portia's good with it. So Angela says. So now we see the girls, they starting to get ready for the rodeo. And we find out that Kelly had referred her stylist Paris to Britt because Britt doesn't have a stylist, which we can tell, and she needs one. Okay? So now Portia is telling Cynthia and Britt how she is kind of annoyed with Angela because they talk about the affirmation pillow, and she said Angela pretty much snatched it from her. And she was like, she is fighting hard for peace, honey. And she was like, but I'm not going to let that get to me. But, I just feel like I'm being bullied on my own damn trip. Like, So now they they leave out and they go pick up Portia's friends because she invited her sister Lauren. Monyetta is there. Amy, was that Amy from Love and Hip Hop? That looked like Amy from Love and Hip Hop that was there, and 2 other girls was there. So it was 5 girls. They came fly out. They flew out to come turn up for the night. So they picked them up, and it's turning up now. They're on a party bus turning up, and they arrive at the rodeo some of them do the mechanical bull. Shamia lasts the longest time, 51 seconds. So after that, they sit down and go eat, and someone is asking where Drew is at. Meanwhile, we see Drew and her sister Allison. They at Genesis Hookah Lounge, and they're celebrating because she just got signed to a major label. She said, what was the name of it? Connect Records. That's what she said. So they turning up. We see she's on FaceTime with Dennis, and I guess he got them a bottle because they come with the bottle service to them. And she's like, they're excited. She's like, thank you, bro, or whatever. So she said basically she just wanted to get out and have some fun and get happy. The court day had her messed up. She was stressed out. She was crying. As I explained to y'all, she definitely left that courthouse frantic and a mess. Okay, she was highly upset when she left that courthouse. So she said she just wanted to blow some steam and get some laughs and have some fun before she headed out to Nashville. So now back in Nashville, Portia is telling her peoples how Angela done went and invited Drew without telling her. So now she feels like the focus is now on Drew, and people done forgot it was her birthday. So Angela is defending herself. She's like, when we spoke about it, you ain't make no big deal about it. She was like, you forced me. Like, you forced it on me. Like, she was like, I ain't want her here or whatever. She's like, what don't Angela get in her confessional? She's like, I thought Angela was cool, calm, demure. She's not. She's pushy. She's annoying. She's too much. So basically, she was like, how she don't appreciate how she invited Drew on her trip. How you gonna invite a chick she don't even mess with on her trip? Like, what part don't you get? So Angela's like, I just thought that it would be best if y'all could just hash out things out and we could put everything on the table. So everybody's like, no, this is her birthday. This is about her. This is not the best time for that. And Angela is insistent that she thinks that they need to squash it. And Portia's basically like, this is about me. This isn't about Drew. Pretty much, Angela. You not getting that, Angela? I get your intentions, and I'm sure your intentions are genuine and pure. You have good intentions, but not now, hon. Okay? Not now. Maybe when y'all get back to the ATL. She didn't invite her for a reason. So I wouldn't have went along and invited her. But after all, this is Housewives. And don't we love messiness like this? You're supposed to invite the chicks she don't mess with. Or it wouldn't be Real Housewives. Anyway, so basically, Angela is like, Portia's like, what part don't you get? Like, what kind of glue are you gluing your wig down with? What don't you get? So Angela's like, explain it to me. Explain it to me like I'm 5 years old. And Portia's like, no, I'm explaining to you how old you are or whatever. You should have kept your mouth shut. You shouldn't have said nothing. So now Angela's taken aback. And she's like, when we was on the thing, she ain't say nothing. She made it seem like it was cool. But now her little friends showed up. Now she want to start, now she want to buck. Because her little friends is here. Girl, bye. So now, she said, Angela is like, in her confession, like, girl, I wear a size 12 shoe. I'm 6 feet tall and wear a size 12 shoe. I can stand on my motherfucking own. Okay? So basically, she let them know what I'm not going to is have here and have y'all sit here and talk about somebody who's not here to defend themselves. And they're like, no, that's not what we doing or whatever. So basically, Lauren chimes in and she's like, so basically, Portia is explaining to them that what's going on with her and Drew. She says she feels Drew and Zora some sneaky stuff and moving funny. Lauren chimes in and says, basically, it's being alleged that Drew and Dennis are doing more than just making music. That's what the allegations are. So now the other friend decides to chime in and says Drew was sucking dick. So all the girls are gagging now. Even Britt was like, that's too much. Or whatever. Like, why are y'all saying this about this girl? Like, did she? If she did, okay, but why are y'all saying this? Like, why are y'all bashing? Portia, I get it. You came with a storyline that didn't work out, so you had to come up with something in a panic. But this ain't it, sis. Like, why is y'all disparaging this girl? You just said you was triggered by what Kenya did to Britt. What makes this any different than what y'all doing to Drew at this table right now? I don't believe it, but if it is true, we'll see. But even if so, like, why is y'all doing this? Portia, I don't like what you're giving. The whole mean girl by not inviting Drew when she's part of the cast. You're mad, like, you're really making this your storyline. You had no storyline, and now you were forced to come up with a storyline, and this is whack. You're being a mean girl, and I'm not feeling it, and I don't like this whole slut shaming and trying to throw allegations about Drew and Dennis. That's not cool, okay? But anyway, she says how she insinuates that Dennis told her this. Because she says that when she asks Drew, like when she tries to press him about any girl he may have slept with, he'll say, nah, she just gave me head. She just gave me head. Or whatever. That's what he loves to get, fellatio. That's his thing. And that's how he evens out his body count. Not lowers it, evens it out. Because he don't smash everything. He just like to get some top. So pretty much she's alluding to the fact that she must have pressed Dennis on did he fuck Drew. And he said, nah, she just gave me head. Child, if he said that, I don't know. This is just a mess. I don't like it. If this is the direction the season is going in, count me out. All right. But anyway, this episode was all right. I'm going to keep it real. It seems like since Kenya left, blah. But we gonna see. This was episode 7. So we'll see. I mean, next is episode 8. And it don't look like it's gonna turn out much more. We see Drew's gonna arrive. And then I guess make her exit. It's giving Mean Girls. And if next week is episode 8, that means we're about to be like halfway through the season. Girl, we'll see what happens though. But let me know what y'all think about this episode. Sorry that this recap was kind of longer than usual because it was a double recap because I missed last week's recap. So I just did them both in one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and I will check you all out in the next one. Bye.